Hi, I'm Jacqueline Snyder, and this is the Product Boss Podcast. I've helped launch and grow thousands of product-based businesses, even one of my own. And over the last 20 years, I've seen behind the scenes of businesses just like yours. Whether they are makers, manufacturers, artists, or food and beverage businesses, I have spent so many hours studying it all. I've discovered what makes them successful, what mistakes they could have avoided, how did they turn their ideas into a successful business, and what are the strategies that they have used to make more sales and be discovered by more customers. And this is what this show is all about. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to become $1 million product boss, I'm here to give you the permission to chase your dreams, no matter how big or small. All you need is the right mindset, a little courage, strategy, and support, and you too can be the next $1 million product boss. Let's do this. Oh my goodness, friends. If you are anything like me, you probably spend more time running errands than running your business. Am I right? Like everything needs something. We got to run around. And I knew that this was like a major issue for me back in the day, which is why I decided to get help where I could. And I decided to let Instacart handle all of my grocery shopping. So I no longer had to worry about running all the errands and having to run out and get more almond milk for my lattes. Rather, I was like, you know what? We're just going to let Instacart handle that. So I want you to imagine skipping the store and getting back to designing, packaging orders, making, or maybe actually taking a break, even a nap. Remember those? Okay, so with Instacart, you can get groceries and essentials delivered in as fast as an hour so you can focus on growing your business without sacrificing a meal. Plus, less stress and more focus. And here's a tip. I've actually used Instacart before to order gifts from my daughter's friends' birthday parties because I haven't had time to run out and get presents. And I've been able to get the packaging, like the gift bag and the gift, like hello Sephora, delivered to my house while I was in the middle of coaching sessions so that I could have the present, right? It's like having a personal assistant without having a personal assistant. So if you want to do what I do and get the help where you can try it now if you head to theproductboss.com/Instacart. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I am here to help you get unstuck, right? We are here to help you fix what's happening in your physical product-based business so that you can start to make consistent sales. And when you fix those things in your business, then what we're going to do is we're going to level up and help you start to accelerate your sales. Yes. This is for all things physical product-based businesses. I've heard from so many of you where you're out there and you're searching for podcasts and you're like, oh, wait, this is just a service podcast. This stuff doesn't apply to me. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new, make sure that you're following the show because we launch 2 episodes a week. Okay, so let's get into it. And let me guess, you have great products, a decent website, and you are doing all the things, but your sales still feel like a roller coaster, right? I'm sure I've heard this from so many people. One month feels up, the next is dead. And I'm going to tell you that I just audited someone in my sales accelerator program. I just audited her business and she makes $3,000 some months and $30,000 to $40,000 another month. That is very stressful on a business owner. So whether you're making a couple $100s and a couple $1,000s or $3,000 and $30,000, listen, we've all got businesses to run, and this is that wild ride of entrepreneurship. So in today's episode, I'm breaking down exactly why that's happening and what to start shifting today if you want consistent, reliable sales from your product-based business. And I think this matters right now. Why this is important right now is there's so much uncertainty in the world. And I know I've been getting a lot of feedback from the episode that we've done on the tariffs, and it was a different take on it. And I've been in business now for almost 2 decades. I was a part of the recession of 2008. I supported businesses in starting and growing and building in a time where other businesses were shutting down. It's happening again in a lot of ways. And what I know is that my listeners, you're all small product-based business owners, whether you're my student that has a $25 million business or you're someone who's making a couple $100s a month, right? But it's significant either way. And it matters because the world feels a little bit in influx. There's uncertainty in the market. And I do want to say that people are still shopping. People are still buying. There's just this part that we have to roll through this roller coaster, right? We're going to do it. We're going to do it together. You're going to follow the show. We're going to talk about this every week. I'm here to support you every step of the way. But it's going to take change. It's going to take us looking under the hood of our car and saying, what's inside? What needs to get fixed? Because whatever was happening, whatever maybe felt like it was working might not be working anymore. Or I'm just done. I'm just done with the up and down on the roller coaster ride. Can I just get something a little bit more consistent, more predictable, one in which I'm thinking about predictability, consistency, and growth versus I don't know what's going to happen this month. And this has happened for me. This has happened for my students. We're entrepreneurs. We're part of this wild ride and we're going to do it together. So I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most common reasons your sales aren't where you want them to be, plus how to start fixing them with clarity and confidence. So don't worry, you don't have to fix everything. You just really want to start with the one thing that hits home for you. The one thing right now that if we were to like driving a car and you're like, oh, there's something weird, like there's some sound going on and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm driving it to a dealership or the mechanic and I'm like, can you tell me what's wrong with my car? Usually it's one thing. It might be the brakes. It might be the rudder. It might be that you've run out of fluid for your windshield wipers, just speaking from experience. We're just going to fix the first thing, the most important thing, the thing that's keeping you stuck, the thing that feels like it hits home the most for you. So, ready to jump in? Let's do this. Okay. So, reason number 1 is that you, my friend, might be selling too many products. Too many products. And you're not selling any of them very clearly. So, I'm going to sigh out. And if you've been listening, you know what I'm about to say. If you've been around at any point in this part of the show, or you're one of my students in my programs, it's not your fault. You've been taught the wrong thing. And I'm hearing this a lot from my community. I'm hearing this a lot from my students is that especially the Etsy sellers, people with Etsy shops, they got caught up in the mess and the noise of you have to make more and more products to be successful on that platform. You're building businesses around the needs of a platform, not the needs of your business. You're selling too many products. When you sell too many products, your customer doesn't know what to buy. Now, why does this make sense on Etsy? Well, Etsy is something where people are searching for a product like a mama necklace, and all the things that are going to show up are mama necklaces. And they're going to kind of choose based on the photo, maybe the product description, maybe the amount of reviews, maybe it's the style and design. But what I know about Etsy is there's a lot of copies of copies of copies. So we're competing product to product. We're not competing brand to brand. So if we think about a brand and you think about Pepsi versus Coke, yes, it comes down to the flavor, but at the same time, they're colas and they're black. It's like one's not blue and you're like, oh, I like to drink blue drinks more. They're cola. It is what it is. They have a slightly different taste, but they've got the same outcome. But they sell a feeling, right? They sell the brand. So if you were going to go search for a cola and just a whole bunch of colas showed up, right? You just saw a bunch of bottles with black liquid inside and it's like, this is cola, this is cola, this is cola. This is how much it is. Okay, well, what are we going to choose? I mean, are the choices end up not being aligned with the brand? The other thing is when you're selling too many products, you don't know what to focus on. You're spending all of your money in product development, design, maybe even production, but not in selling. Your customer's confused. They don't know what to buy. And I know you know this, but I'm going to say it again. Okay, we always talk about the 80-20 rule, which is Pareto's principle. 80% of your revenue can come from 20% of your products. So what does that mean? That means you do not need 2,000 products. When I do this with my students, when we break down what sells best in their business, can they be known for? And if they can focus on that, it doesn't have to be one thing, but it's variation. So another audit I was doing, because this was a bonus for students that joined the Sales Accelerator, which by the way, I don't know if I've officially made the announcement, but Multi-Stream Machine got a glow up. Not only is the entire program different, I guess I'm making the announcement right now. Not only is the entire program updated for 2025 different, we talk about how you can leverage other people's audiences and accelerate your sales by pushing the easy button. Okay. But we've changed the name to the Sales Accelerator, the Product Boss Sales Accelerator, because it's 2025. We're going to do things differently. The concept is still there, but the glow up has happened and it's awesome. So for my new Sales Accelerator students, a lot of them got sales engine audits from me because we talk about your current sales engine, where you're currently selling, and then how you can add on other engines for your business so your business can run by itself. Think about like the beautiful, old vintage car that you're fixing up, which is your current business. It needs a fix up, it needs a tune up. But then once we do fix it up and get the tune up, then you get the like self-driving car. I'm not trying to get political here, so we're not going to turn, electric self-driving cars into anything political on this podcast. But let's just imagine you get into that car they've got those taxis now, or like where you get in and there's no driver. It's bonkers. I still can't do it. But imagine that your engine was driving without you. You could sleep in. You could have your weekends again. You don't have to be posting on Etsy all the time. Like, you're selling on sales channels that are actually doing the selling for you because it's in front of other people's audiences. So that's what we were working on. And I say this because one of my audits that I just did, and if you're listening, I love you so much listening, but this is one of the things that I saw. She's like, we sell hats. We sell a lot of hats. We also sell candles. And we also sell mugs and tumblers. And we also sell keychains. So imagine you show up to a store, a booth, and it's like hats and keychains and mugs and tumblers and all the things. But the question is why, right? And she's telling me her best sellers are hats. So we're like, let's build a hat bar. Let's be known for hats. Why are we, just because you can make these other products doesn't mean we should make these other products. What if your marketing, your images, your sales, your customers knew you for these cool hats that are like inspired by, they're like very Midwest and they're very cool and they've got cool patches on them. Like, what if that was your focus? How much easier would it be? So I think I've beaten this one into the ground, but I want you to think about how many products you're selling and how hard it feels to sell it. Even the $30,000, $40,000 company. What if we were to hone in on our SKUs? What if we were to hone in on what we were known for? What if our marketing, like we knew what we were selling to new customers? We knew what we could sell to our returning customers. We knew what we could do as add-ons. Like, your life would be so much easier. So that's one of the first reasons, right? And that's something I would say you need to fix, is that you're selling too many products. So you want to know who your ideal customer avatar is. Like, who are you selling to? What is your niche? Why do they want what you have to sell? Right. And let's like hone in on not making more products just to make more products or because you feel creative, but to make things that actually matter to our ideal customer, things that are actually going to sell. All right. So if you're nodding along to these and you're thinking, yes, that's me, how do I actually fix this? I have something coming soon. So don't even worry about it. And it's going to help you really identify and fix what's broken in your business and fix it fast. But the thing what I want you to do right now is, this is what we talk about every week on the podcast, right? I just want you to start to identify, maybe this could be the thing that needs to be fixed, right? Okay. So the second thing is, your brand doesn't create any sort of emotional connection, right? It's not about it's made of natural ingredients, or I hand engrave these on leather, or they're eco-friendly, or we give back to artisans in another country. That is not why people are buying from you. People, customers, they're selfish, not in a bad way, but in a, what's it going to do for me? You as a consumer are like, why do I want that? How is it going to make me feel? I was coaching one of my students this morning. She's actually one of my masterminders, lots of coaching today. And one of my masterminders, and she's got this beautiful product that she imports from another country. It's a home product. And I was like, they don't want you to talk to them about how it's made. They want you to show them how they're going to feel when their space, their home has your product in it and they feel a certain way. They feel a certain way about themselves. They feel a certain way when they're in that space, when they're interacting with the product. It just makes them feel something. Coach Suzanne, who's one of our coaches, and she's also on our team now, and she was a product boss. Like, she's been a part of this community forever. She sold cookies, and she was telling our students in one of our recent boot camps, she's like, you know what it is? It's the She sold cookies. It wasn't, hey, these are natural, handmade. Here's the frosting. Here are the flavors. Yes. But what they really wanted was that, where is your, where is the thing that they just feel so good, so satisfied, so delighted, so in the energy of what they long for? That is what the brand does. That is why it is so important to not just sell products, but to build a brand around your products. And if you look and feel like everyone else and your messaging isn't clear, it's going to be impossible for you to stand out. It's going to be impossible for you to get consistent sales, even if your product is amazing. Because again, if we go back to that Etsy scenario of this product next to that product next to that product, and they're all the same products, why would they buy? But when we build a brand, when we build connection, when we're meeting our customers where they are, where we're building a brand that makes people feel and desire something, that's the brand, and that's how you pick Pepsi over Coke. That's how you pick Lululemon over Aloe. They could be the same leggings in the same color, but there's something that you feel when you're attached to the brand. And that is another thing that might be getting in the way of you getting consistent sales. Okay. Next reason, number 3, is that your marketing isn't focused or repeatable. Some of you are like, this is like where the record scratches, and you're like, what marketing? So posting everywhere with no plan, and again, so many people are like, I post every day. I show up on social. If you're not posting something that makes sense to your brand, to your product as a marketing angle, because marketing is what drives sales. If you don't have a plan and know exactly what to be marketing, what offers are you making? When are you making these offers? How are you making these offers? How are you growing your email list, right? If you're making sales, are you growing your email list? If you're on social with no phone number to the person, right? No, not phone number, but connection where you actually have their email, then that's not going to happen. It was so funny. I was talking to my mom recently and she was reminding me of when she met, it's my stepdad now, but after she divorced my dad, she's at a bar. Remember, my mom got married when she was like 20. So she has no idea what she's doing in the dating world. I had to coach my mother when she got out of a 30-year marriage. And so she's at this bar in LA that single older people go to, after 30 years of marriage. And she's sitting there and this guy sits right next to her at the bar. Bartender brings her over a drink. It's so classic, old school bar situation. And he starts talking to her and she's talking about how she's just gotten out of a 30-year marriage. She's got 5 kids, blah, 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 blah. He goes, okay, you're beautiful, but not for me, not now. They did not exchange phone numbers. They didn't do anything. He was just like, okay, maybe I'll see you here at another time. But he wasn't ready to get into it. Turns out my mom ends up meeting him again through a friend who he ends up becoming my stepdad, but they never exchanged numbers. So if fate didn't step in and introduce them to each other later on, how miraculous that fate stepped in, they would have never connected again. And my mom's never been happier. So I want you to think about that. That story is, if you don't connect with your customers, when they walk away, there's so much information. There's so many brands competing for attention. There's so many things happening. If you don't capture their email address, then they will disappear forever. I would not expect fate to step in as often for y'all. So I want you to have plans. I want you to have plans to acquire customers or leads, right? Getting people in, and then having a focused and repeatable marketing system. What am I selling this week? How am I selling it? How am I going to market it to my customers? What's your plan? Because by just showing up on social and thinking, if I just keep showing up on social and posting random things on here, and you think it's going to do something and it doesn't, there's no traction. There's no growth. Visibility without clarity is a waste of your energy. And if you don't have a real strategy to stay in front of people consistently, you're not going to make sales consistently. So what I do want to tell you is you don't need to post more and more and more, especially if you're posting without a strategy, without knowing what's creating traction, getting in front of your ideal customers and actually getting them to stick around and eventually convert to sales. So if you don't have a plan, then you need to create a marketing system, right? One that brings in sales without burning you out. One that does not require you to create. I know we don't really dance on TikTok and Instagram anymore, but let's just say it doesn't require you to dance, and it doesn't require you to post pictures of your food, and it might not even require you to do face to camera. But we need a marketing system, one that is holistic, that if you choose and want to grow on social, we can use social. One that email, that's essential, right? The essential part is email. And then you get to choose, do I want to do paid, organic, or partnership, or a mix of all three? In terms of my marketing plan, paid is ads. Organic is, handing out flyers. That's old school, right? Doing social media. And partnership is partnering with other brands, getting in front of other people's audiences, influencers, that kind of thing, right? We need ways for people to discover you. And then once they discover you, ways to hand them your digits and stay connected. Okay. So that's that. All right. Reason 4, your online selling platform is not built to convert. I've done a lot of audits, a lot. And let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard for a customer in 2025. And I always say it's the grandma rule. If my grandma, who's 89, were to show up on your website, can she get to what she wants to get to? And can she check out? Or is she going to get lost in a hot mess? If where you're selling online isn't built to convert, you will not make sales. It doesn't matter how great your products are. It doesn't matter how much time you spent on them, right? It doesn't even matter if it's pretty, it's not built to convert, because pretty does not mean profitable. All your hard work does not mean profitable. Clunky checkout processes will kill sales. Clunky home pages will kill sales. Bad images will kill sales. There's so many different things that'll just kill it. So even if you know you're getting the customers, you're doing the marketing, you're doing all the things, and you're like, I'm doing the things and they're coming to my site. That was another thing I was coaching on in these sales engine audits. People were like, I have thousands of people that I email, but they never check out on the website. And then I go to the website, I'm like, because they don't even know how. Right? And they're going to lose trust in your brand. They're not going to put their credit card into the computer for you to store if they don't trust your brand. There's too much out there that we trust, we know, like, and trust. There's too many up-leveled online places that we can buy that we trust more. That's why places like Etsy and marketplaces have worked, because you don't have to do the build of the website or the conversion or the checkout. And that's why even Meta, I remember back in 2020 when they did Instagram shops, we didn't have that. They literally rolled that out in 2020. And Mark Zuckerberg and the team were basically like, we're doing this and we're having people check out because we can control the user experience of finding the product and checking out, versus if we send them off the platform and your website is janky, the sale is lost. So at least they could help control that. So let's fix it, right? Your website is not just a business card. It is not just a placeholder on the internet. It's your 24/7 sales machine, and it needs to be set up right to convert. And then the last one that I want to share with you is this concept of dun, 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 my friends. Reason number 5 is you're doing too much. You are doing too much. I don't even have to know you to tell you this. I'm not going to say that I'm not part of this club. I absolutely am. Entrepreneurship, and there's different seasons that require more of us. I have a team and I'm doing a lot of change this year in the business, and I'm doing too much. And I'm sure there's a lot of things I could outsource and let go. And the thing is that this leads to overwhelm, especially if you're a solopreneur, And I think a lot of times when we're starting out, as solopreneurs, we're holding on to everything so tight. We're like, I want you to do this right now if you're listening, okay? Imagine, like, open up your hand, look at the palm of your hand and open it up. And I want you to imagine I'm placing sand in your hand. I'm taking a pile of sand, I'm scooping it up from the beaches in Malibu, and I'm putting it in your hand. And then I want you to close your hand tight. How much sand can you hold? The sand is going to come out the sides. And by the time you open up your hand, it's going to be just a smidgen of sand. Now, I want you to imagine doing the same thing. You open up your hand and I put sand in it. You leave your hand open and I can put more and more sand. I could pile that sand pretty high in your hand without you holding on so tight. If you just let go, if you just open up your hand for help, there is such expansion waiting for you on the other side. And I've been reading a book right now, and it's a great book. I felt like doing an episode on it at some point, but it's Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Harden. Hey friends. Okay, so I don't know if you're anything like me, but sometimes it feels like my self-care routine is slipping through the cracks, because when I'm juggling and wearing all the hats in my business and doing all the things, the last thing I have to do is like really fulfill that self-care routine that my daughter's talking about. She's like, Mom. So listen, so when it comes to running a successful business, you can't really pour from an empty cup. And a lot of times that self-care is like one of the first things to get yourself recalibrated. So that's why I want you to meet Gloci. Now, Gloci is my favorite daily beauty supplement designed to transform your skin and gut health from the inside out. And I'm actually an investor in this business because I so believe in this idea of science-backed ingredients for digestion and skin hydration. And Gloci makes it really easy to look and feel your best without that whole 10-step routine in the mirror, the thing I don't actually have time for. All I have to do is simply mix a stick into my water and I'm good to go. So if you want to try this, because I so believe in this business, I think it's amazing. It's done so many wonders for my skin and my gut, which are two things that I need help with. And you want to simplify your wellness and your beauty, all you have to do is click in the show notes and you can use the code Jacqueline Snyder. So it's my full name. Use the code Jacqueline Snyder and I'm hooking you up with 15% off your order. So cheers to glowing skin and a thriving business. We're always looking for the how, but who? Who do we need to help us do this thing? Who? And that who could come in the place of a coach, right? I didn't know when I had my business. I was so stuck after being a decade in my business, going into debt, not knowing what I was doing, feeling overwhelmed, all these things. And it took me finally paying. This is what I did. I had hired a podcaster that I heard. She offered coaching and I hired her to coach me. And that was the shift and change my business needed. I needed a who. I was doing the how and I didn't know what else to do, right? I couldn't sew at scale and make as many cuffs for Cuffs Couture for the growth that I wanted to see in that business. I needed a who. I needed people to cut the fabric, sew the goods, package and ship. I couldn't do it all once I started growing that business. I knew how. I didn't need more how. I needed the who. So a lot of times this is going to start with a person who like turns the light bulb on for you. Right now, the who, if you're listening to this episode, might be me and this podcast and thinking like, okay, I need someone else to tell me. They've done it before. They've walked the path. And then also in that solopreneur overwhelm, a lot of you can't imagine growing any bigger than you are or even growing at all because you don't know or believe how you could actually do it all yourself. And here's the biggest takeaway. You're not meant to do this all by yourself. And when your business does grow, you will not be doing it all by yourself. You just cannot imagine that future yet because you haven't lived it. You haven't walked it. Right now, you're like, I have no money or I don't have enough money to hire. I even know people with lots of revenue and they feel tight in hiring. But sometimes what it's going to take is going to be to hire someone to get you out of being the bottleneck and they can do more while you're doing what you're best at. Okay. You do not need to be shipping and selling and posting and sourcing and doing all the things. We need to be building systems. We need to be building in what templates can you plug into your business? What things can be done for you or partially done for you? This is something that my students are loving. And the way that I rebuilt these programs is like, I am giving you all templates and swipe copy, meaning like I've written most of the email. You just have to fill in your own things, right? Like that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you the easy button because I know entrepreneurship is overwhelming. I've been an entrepreneur since 2007. Holy moly, I don't know how I'm this old. And it's awesome. And I love the ride, but doing too much is where burnout comes. So I want you to know and believe that when you're ready to hire, when your business starts to take off, you will have the revenue that you'll figure out how to hire the next person and the next person. And even now, without the revenue, without the growth, you might still need to ask yourself, who do I need to help me get there faster? Because if I keep doing the way, okay, I know how to make this thing, I know how to post it, blah, blah, blah. But without the real strategy behind it, you're not going to grow. Okay. Without that structure, without that knowledge, without that support, you're always going to feel stuck and your sales are going to reflect that. So this is what I say to you. So if any of these sound familiar, my friend, you are not alone. And none of this is your fault. How would you know? I went to fashion design school 4 years, plus a 5th year at a UC. Okay. None of them taught me how to be an entrepreneur. They taught me how to go work for someone else, how to be a designer, how to be creative. I mean, I was like top of my class. I got hired out of school. Luckily, the companies I went and worked for were still run by the owners, even if they were $25 million companies. And I only learned it from boots on the ground, watching their mistakes, spending their money on their mistakes and learning. And then 2 decades in entrepreneurship of many businesses. Some I started, some I sold, some I just shut down. And what I've learned over all of these years is you do not need to work harder. You don't need to work harder. If working harder, we'd be gazillionaires. Am I right? Oh my God, I'd be so rich. Because I am known to pull an all-nighter or two because I'm a little bit of, I think I learned that in fashion school. Like I like the pressure. I like to work at night. I like the be in the momentness. Okay, that's fine. That's my creative process. But I would also be a gazillionaire. So you do not need to work harder. You just need to fix the right things. And this is not even a whole business overhaul. This is what we're doing in the Product Boss right now. We're fixing specific things that are required for us to level up and be the kind of company that we want to be for you and the support and the coaches and the coaching and the education and all of the things that we deliver to our students. We're doing that in 2025 because this is the time, but we need to fix the right things, not the silly things. Social media, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've actually slowed down on posting on social. We're fixing what we're known for before we go in. I'm not making more and more content. You might even see it on the email list. I've actually stopped sending weekly newsletters right now because we're fixing our messaging. We're fixing our brand and we're fixing our marketing. Two things out of all these things. Yeah, those are two major things we're working on out of these things. And I know I'm not a product business right now telling you this, but it's for entrepreneurship. It's for business. This applies to everyone. And if you're a service-based business, welcome to the Product Boss podcast, where we coach physical products. So now you get to switch around what we're teaching and make it work for your service business, but not for products, because that's all we speak to. So my friends, I'm excited to keep sharing with you ways that you can stop guessing and start growing, right? How you can fix exactly what's blocking your sales so that you can fix that thing. We can look under the hood, we can make the fix, and you're going to start to see sales flow in consistently. It's going to feel so much easier. We are done. We are done with all the hustle and the hard. Because if that was the thing that solved it all, then again, we'd be gazillionaires. So listen, make sure to follow the show. If you're listening on Spotify, on Apple, follow the show. Okay. We get 2 episodes a week. It'll pop up in your podcast player. We're here to support you as you grow your business. Thank you. As always, if this resonated with you, or if you're like, someone needs to listen to this episode, go ahead and share it with them. I'd be so grateful, and they would be so grateful. All right, my friends, till the next one.